What's up, guys? I think we're on part 58 of the CD collection, still in the F section. Starting out, just going to jump right into it. Starting out, we have some German pagan black metal, somewhat atmospheric at times. This is Furtan with Innenwelt. Yeah, I butchered that. This is a pretty good little EP. It's only 2 tracks released on Northern Silence Productions. I can tell that the glare is going to be an issue in this video. I do apologize, but we will try to power through it. Just 2 tracks. This was my introduction to Furtan. I saw this. It's been out a while. I think 2016ish is about the time that this came out. I don't see I don't see the date on the back, but I saw this on it was either atmospheric black metal albums on YouTube, or I don't even know if black metal promotion was around at that time, but it was one of those black metal album sharing um, YouTube channels that were fairly large at the time. That's where I saw this and I liked it, so I went out and picked that up. And then I picked up their follow up full length. This one came out in 2018. This is Furtan with I pronounce it Oceanos, but it's OK Eanos instead of OCs. But I don't know if that was just the cult way of trying to spell that or what. It might just be Okinos. But pretty decent stuff. I think I like this full length a little bit better than the EP, which is surprising because the EP kind of blew me away. This is all that I own from the band. They have some other material out there, but this is all that I've sought out to pick up. This was on AOP Records. Not really familiar with that label. Next up, this is an album that I recently got in a grab bag, and I was pretty after learning and listening to it and learning about this project. I was disappointed that I didn't know beforehand. This is Firth of Damnation with Carpe Diem. This is a one-man black metal project out of Nashville, which is fairly close to me. This was released in 2008. Pretty decent slab of black metal. The driving force, the man behind this project, unfortunately deceased back in 2015. He died in a van crash while on tour with his band Wormreich. But I think he went by the moniker Nazgul, and this was kind of his solo black metal project, and it's really good. I actually want to pick up some more material from Firth of Damnation because it may be almost impossible to find at this point, but I did enjoy this full length quite a bit. Next up, we have some more of that HPGD stuff, so that horror, pain, gore, death. Usually they have those 30 CD grab bags that they're practically giving away. I got this one in one of those. It is some death metal. I forget where this band is out of. I think the label is out of Philadelphia. They do a lot of Philadelphia bands, but I'm not quite sure where this particular band is out of. This is Fisthammer with Devour All You See. This one is pretty good. They had a follow up to this that was not up to snuff, and then I think the band changed their name. I don't remember what they changed the name to, like subjugation or something. I can't remember, but this is actually a pretty solid full length. I did dig this. Just kind of some straightforward death metal. The follow up, just be warned, if you're gonna seek out some Fisthammer material, this would be the album that I would personally pick out because that follow up to that was not very good. Next up, we have some deathcore. This is Fit for an Autopsy with Absolute Hope, Absolute Hell. Recently saw these guys in concert earlier this year, and they absolutely killed it. I don't listen to a ton of deathcore. I feel like I say that like every other video, and then I still show deathcore. Don't really listen to a whole lot of deathcore anymore, but Fit for an Autopsy is one of those bands that kind of transcends the genre for me. I do enjoy their material. They have some stuff that kind of leans into the straightforward death metal territory. Good stuff here from Fit for an Autopsy. Also have The Great Collapse. I picked this one up shortly before going to see them live. I wanted to familiarize myself with a bit more of their material, and this one's pretty good. I also picked up their newest full length that came out this year. I do not have that on the shelf in this section. It's in a different shelf, so I can't show it in this particular video. Next up, we have some kind of melodic death metal, thrashy melodic death metal. And when I first saw this, I was expecting new metal. It just looks like a new metal album. This is Flatline with "Pave the Way." Just looking at that to me, that screams new metal. I just and that I mean, I try not to judge, but I thought for sure I was getting myself into some new metal, but this is actually pretty good. Kind of mellow death, thrashy mellow death. I was pleasantly surprised when I listened to this. I believe this band is out of California, but that's all that I've heard from them. I think I got this at Hastings when they were closing down all the Hastings stores. I think that I got this for like 50 cents or something along there. So I figured I would take a shot at it, and it turned out to be something that I did enjoy. Speaking of new metal, we have some new metal out of Kentucky. This is Flaw with Through the Eyes. This came out when I was at right around the time that my graduating high school years, 2001. That sounds about right. I remember working at a gas station back then, and there was a Hastings right behind the gas station that took a lot of my money. And this was one of the albums that I picked up there. They were pretty big in this area just because the area of Kentucky that they were from was fairly local. They were being kind of pushed around in this general geography. I mean, it's pretty decent. I mean, it is kind of new metal. I think I look back at it pleasantly now, more nostalgia wise than anything else. But yeah, there you go. And then the follow up, I don't even really remember a whole lot about this one. This one came out in 2004, entitled "Endangered Species." And honestly, without looking at the back, I could not tell you one track title on this album. It has been probably a decade since I've listened to anything off of probably either one of these albums, to be honest. But they are still here, as I said, kind of like a nostalgia placeholder. It's what happens when you're a hoarder, I guess. Next up, we have some Chinese. Well, I guess they're out of Taiwan. I don't know the proper way of of labeling Taiwanese um, deathcore slash metalcore. This is Flesh Juicer. This is pretty decent. I mean, it's different. Um, this one is entitled "The Brutal Tai Chung." Yeah. Um, it's pretty decent. It is very different. I mean, it's a fun listen for what it is. Is it something that I'm going to pull off the shelf every day and listen to? Absolutely not. But I do enjoy it when the urge strikes to throw this one in. But it is something that I just kind of have to be in the mood for, and it is a little bit different. Next up, we have Flesh Configuration with their EP "Cursed Resurrection." This is released on Vargheist Records, just in this little thin line jewel case. This is like a full band lineup. I know that Justin Volis from Vargheist is on this, and then you've got Jared Cade Moran doing the drums. It has them and the bass, and then you have Blake Scott, so it's a three piece. I think they had a full length or like a full EP or something that came out after this, but I don't have that one. This is all that I own. Kind of brutal death metal. Um, pretty decent. I did enjoy this quite a bit, so I may have to look into. I think it was an EP that they released after that. Next up, we have this is obviously a Russian bootleg. This is Flesh Crawl with Blood Red Massacre. When I purchased this, I I got it so cheap that I had an inkling that it was not going to be um, a genuine copy because they go for a pretty decent amount. It is a very well done bootleg. I mean, just I'm saying it has to be a bootleg. I haven't looked at the matrixing or anything on it, but just how clean and pristine the artwork and stuff is on this album. For me, I mean, it would be well weathered and worn at this point if it was a legitimate copy. So, but I mean, it is pretty decent death metal, death grindy death metal. Nasty stuff. This is unfortunately the only flesh crawl that I own. I need to rectify that at some point because they are a very entertaining project, and well, I guess were a very entertaining project. I don't know why I haven't sought out more of their material, to be honest with you. Next up, we have a band out of Italy. This is Fleshgod Apocalypse with their debut full length entitled Oracles. Probably their highest point as a band, kind of symphonic death metal, symphonic technical style death metal. It's not my favorite album from them, but musically it's probably their best. But nostalgia, personal feelings, everything kind of plays a role when you're thinking of your favorite bands. This was not my introduction to Fleshgod, so that could play a role into it as well. The follow-up EP to that entitled Mafia, that was also very, very solid. I like this one quite a bit as well. Released on Willow Tip Records. I enjoyed Fleshgod. I know some people are kind of on the fence with the band. They've only really got one bad album, in my opinion, and we will get to that one. Don't worry. And then we have what was my introduction to Fleshgod Apocalypse. This is probably my favorite album from them. This is Agony. I remember when this came out. I was going to say it had to be around 2011. It was 2011. I remember the time period. I remember the point in my life I was at when this came out. So that stuff always kind of plays a role with me as to my favorite releases and stuff. Just because the memories and nostalgia can kind of generate something within you while you're listening to an album, and that feeling that resonates within you plays a role as to which ones you return to as far as in the discography. So I love this album. Fantastic release. My wife actually bought me this album when we were dating way back when. So 2011. That feels like a lifetime ago. And then we have what I feel like is the weakest release in their entire discography. I was not a fan of this album at all. We have Fleshgod Apocalypse with Labyrinth. I felt like they just went uh, a little too technical just for the sake of trying to be technical on this album. It feels a little bit wanky. I don't know, it just never really clicked for me. There was just something felt off for this entire release. I don't know if it's just because I liked Agony so much. I was uh, expecting something bigger than that to come along, or expecting more of that. I'm not sure what the deal was, but Labyrinth just fell flat on me. Tried returning to this a few times, and I just can't I can't get into it like I want to. The album that came after that I actually did really like though. This is a Fleshgod Apocalypse with King. Feels like a little bit different direction. They kind of drop some of the wankiness just for being wanky for the sake of being wanky. This was released on my favorite. A lot of these that followed the I think from Agony moving forward were released on Nuclear Blast Records. I think the first two were on Willow Tip. Back then in that around that 2010 and prior time period, some of those Willow Tip Records releases were kind of hard to get your hands on and kind of pricey. It's kind of funny how things shift and change over time, but now you can find the stuff for next to nothing. CDs have kind of fallen out of favor, but there was a point in time where those early Fleshgod Apocalypse albums were hard to come by and pretty pricey if you were lucky enough to find them somewhere. And then we have Veleno. I think this is the newest. I don't think they put anything else out since this release. I haven't spent as much time with this one as I probably should have. I did enjoy it. I just it kind of got shelved, there were some other things coming out in 2019 that kind of took precedence over this, and it just kind of got neglected a little bit. I have listened to it a few times. I do like the album as a whole, but it just unfortunately got sidelined for some other material. Moving on, we've got some more kind of brutal death metal, death grind. I guess brutal death grind, if that's a thing. This is Flesh Grind with the Seeds of Abysmal Torment. I absolutely love this release. This came out in 2000. I remember seeing this in a magazine. I can't remember what. I mean, looking back at 2000, I'm not sure which printed magazine I saw an ad for this in, and then I would see the little Century Media, when you bought a CD, it had the little order forms and the little promo things inside of the actual CD. I was like drawn in on that artwork immediately. I was like, man, this just looks like some creepy, nasty stuff. And then uh, I think I actually ordered this uh, in one of those little mail orders, and I was blown away. I think I ended up either it was stolen short at some point when I had a large binder of albums stolen from me. I had to seek out a new copy of this. But the first time that I owned this, I did order it from uh, the Century Media mail order back in the day. So yeah, showing my age a little bit there. And then I think this is the follow up to that. I only have these two Fleshgod albums, but they are my favorite two Fleshgod releases. This is Murder Without End. I got this. I scored this one on eBay not too terribly long ago, and I got a steal on this one. It was just a few dollars, and getting a little easier to find steals on CDs now, just because less and less people are seeking them out. So, but killer stuff there from Fleshgod. Going from killer stuff to this one's a little rough. This is Flesh Rot with Dementia Dyslexia. I got this in that large Metal Blade Records, those lots that I talk about sometimes throughout these videos that I got a few years ago. This one was kind of a tough listen. It's kind of I don't even know how to describe experimental death metal. Is that fair? Experimental. Yeah, it's out there. It can be a bit of a tough listen. There are some good moments on this. I mean, I don't want to just dog it and say it's terrible all the way around, but it can be a difficult listen. If you're not prepared for this, if if you want to take a chance on and listen to this, go for it. But just know you're getting in. Experimental is the best way I can put that one. I was speaking about Jared Moran earlier, Cade Moran. This is another project of his. This is Flittering with Trinitarian. This is very rough production. This one can be a bit of a difficult listen as well. This is death metal, very cavernous, echoey. There's some blackened stuff going on this as well. It can be tough. You have to be a special person to enjoy something like this. I think Rick over at the Dreadful Minutes, I sent him a copy of this, and I think he dug it. I know he talked about it in the uh, in the video that he made when I sent him the package. But I mean, this isn't something that's going to be for everybody. I do dig this. Have to be in a certain mental place to listen to something like this. It is some very dark, oppressing type material, but it is. I do enjoy it. Next up, we have a band called Flood with a Fragile Mind. I don't even know how to describe this band. I saw them open up on tour for Static X, and I thought they put on a pretty decent show. They were selling these, I think, for like $5 at the show, so I grabbed it. It's kind of grungy, hard rocky, psychedelic at times type stuff. I mean, some very dark themes going on it, but I did dig it. I haven't listened to it in years, but it's one of those that I'm going to hang on to just for it because there's some memories tied up into that album or into that EP. But as far as the band, I really don't know anything. I haven't heard anything else from the band. Don't really know anything else about them. Next up, this is one that I got in a one of the Season of Mist grab bags. I think I've had a few copies of this that I've rehomed over the years. This is kind of stonery doom. Has some progressive stuff going on in this as well. Obviously, you could tell that just from the album art. This is a floor with oblation. There we go. It's pretty good. I mean, there are some definite like melodies and harmonies and stuff going on within this style of doom metal. It's a bit different. It is progressive, but it's an enjoyable listen. I did dig this. I haven't listened to it in quite some time, but I do like that album. Next up, Stone Cold Classic. I don't have to tell you. You already know this. This is Flotsam and Jetson with Doomsday for the Receiver. Obviously, I don't even know the album title. Doomsday for the Deceiver. There we go. This is a reissue that came out in 2018. The original copy that I had on this just finally was absolutely decimated. The CD was so scratched it just wouldn't play anymore, and I finally just had to get rid of it. Unfortunately, I looking back now, I kind of wish that I would have just held on to it, just because it was original, even though it didn't play anymore. That's just the hoarder side of me, I guess. Like it pained me somewhat to get rid of that album, but I mean, this is pretty much flawless. I mean, if you're wanting to check out anything from Flotsam and Jetson, you don't have to look any further than this release. I mean that this is the one that I go to. I have some other albums from them in the collection, but that's the one that I go to more often than not. We have Quattro from Flotsam and Jetson. I don't remember a whole lot about this one. This one came out in 1992. I said this was the 2018 reissue. I think the original of this came out in '86. So moving on, we have the Quattro came out in 1992. This one's not bad. I mean, it's just kind of middle of the road. Not super memorable. I don't remember just a ton about this particular release. Then we have Drift. I like this one more than Quattro, but it's still. I mean, I don't know. Once you hear that debut album from Flotsam and Jetson, it feels like almost everything else kind of falls flat. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't think they ever repeated that that point of musicianship. They weren't able to replicate, I guess, something like that. Maybe I'm just picking up the wrong albums from them out of their discography. This one is Unnatural Selection. I didn't like this one. I really didn't care for it that much. I don't. I haven't listened to this one in quite some time. It kind of got shelved shortly shortly after I got it. I think I gave it a couple spins, a couple tries. Like I played it, rested on it for a little bit, played it again, and it just didn't do it for me. So I don't know. I don't know if there's something I'm missing or what. But and then I have my second favorite. I actually really enjoy this Flotsam and Jetson album. This is Dreams of Death. This is kind of nightmare metal. I think it's kind of a um, concept album, kind of based around different nightmares and horrors. It's really good. I like this is ranks up there with that debut for me. So this one was released on Crash Music back in 2005. A little bit different sound. Obviously, with a band that's been around that long, they're gonna evolve and change. But I dig this one quite a bit. I might be in a minority in that, but out of the all of the Flotsam and Jetsam, especially the ones that I own, those would be the uh, the two that I would recommend checking out. I mean, obviously you've all seen this one, but some of you may have missed this one along the way. So I would check out Dreams of Death. If there's one in the discography that I'm just missing, because I kind of got burned out, and it felt like a letdown over and over until that one came along. If there's something else from their discography that you think I would enjoy that I do need to check out, please let me know, because I would be interested to listen to that. And then the last one for this video, we have some kind of mortician worship, some death grind, death metal. This is Fluids with Ignorance Exalted. This was pretty good. Released on Maggot Stomp in 2020. You guys at this point, I mean, the way that Maggot Stomp has taken off and death metal is having this huge resurgence. I think Ken over at the Death Metal Crypt played a bigger part in the death metal resurgence as of late than he knows. But this This is some pretty nasty, gnarly stuff. There will be some more fluids in the next video because this just making room on the shelves. This one just happened to be the last one in this section. So that's all for this video. I will try to get a few of these, at least one more, hopefully a few more of these recorded before I have to just break down the rest of the shelves and get to moving. So that's all for today. If nothing else, I will see you guys next Sunday. Stay classy, stay metal, and I'll see you soon.